Shri Raja Ramachandra ki jai. Devotees, we begin our discourse with a bhajan. Pandit Dr. Umesh Prasad will lead us.
आरती की जय शैल सुता की जगदम्बा की आरती की जय आरती की जय शैल सुता की आरती की जय शैल सुता की जगदम्बा की आरती की जय जगदम्बा की आरती की जय आरती की जय शैल सुता की जगदम्बा की आरती की जय स्नेह सुधा सुख सुंदर लीले जिनके नाम लेत ध्रुव भीजे जिनके नाम लेत ध्रुव भीजे ऐसी हो माता वसुधा की जगदम्बा की आरती की जय जगदम्बा की आरती की जय आरती की जय शैल सुता की पाप विनाशिनी कलिमल हारिणी दयामयी भव सागर तारिणी शस्त्र धारिणी शैल विहारिणी शस्त्र धारिणी शैल विहारिणी बुद्धि राशि गणपति माता की जगदम्बा की आरती की जय जगदम्बा की आरती की जय आरती की जय शैल सुता की सिंहवाहिनी मातु भवानी गौरव गान करे जग प्राणी शिव के हृदयासन की रानी शिव के हृदयासन की रानी करे आरती मिलजुल की जगदम्बा की आरती की जय जगदम्बा की आरती की जय आरती की जय आरती की जय आरती की जय शैल सुता की जगदम्बा की आरती की जय जगदम्बा की आरती की जय आरती की जय शैल सुता की आरती की जय शैल सुता की आरती की जय शैल सुता की।
बोल श्री आदिशक्ति जगदम्बा माता की जय। Now, devotees, the Lord manifests in the form of Sri Ram in the forest with his brother Lakshman. They are on a mountain that is called Pravarshan. There was a crystal rock upon which Sri Ram and Bhaiya Lakshman are sitting. So we focus upon this scene. The Lord never used a moment in idleness. Whatever moments were available, he used those moments constructively. His speech was always wholesome and for the benefit of mankind. Now, metaphysically, Sri Ram symbolizes the state of spirituality, and Lakshman, the power of concentration. Lakshman, that mind that is very straight, direct, and focused. Sri Ram was, let's say, using the weather conditions to teach certain lessons to all of us indirectly through Bhaiya Lakshman. The dark clouds had accumulated, lightning, thunder, the clouds burst, rains, bucket the droppers we see. We will look at a few words of Bhagwan Sri Ram and see what lessons we can infer out of his statements. Yagyavalkya Muni relates to Bharadwaj, Kaghbhushan to Guruji, Bhagwan Shankar to Goddess Parvati. Tulsidas, very beautiful he wrote. भूमि त्रिन संकुल समुझी परहित नहीं पंथ जिमि पाखंड वारती लुप्त होई सद ग्रंथ सिया पति रामचंद्र जी की जय शरणम। श्री रामचंद्र जी बोले, हे भैया लक्ष्मण, पृथ्वी हरित तृणों से ऐसी धक गई है कि मार्ग नहीं विदित होता है, जैसे पाखंड विवाद से सद्ग्रंथ गुप्त हो जाते हैं। यह ज्ञान है। Now Sri Ram is saying, oh brother, in the dry season as it were, through all the grasslands etc., by the constant traveling of people, pathways are cut out. Established pathways, so that those who want to cross over know where to walk. But no sooner the advent of the rains, then grasses spring up and cover all the tracks, so that it is difficult to identify which way to pass to go where. As a matter of fact, one can very well use a wrong pathway. What does this mean? Sri Ram is saying, oh brother, the scriptures, the established scriptures, give us the various pathways to go towards that divine, to achieve that ultimate objective. But we have what can be called wrangling heretics, who twist the words of scriptures to suit their own ends, their own hidden agenda. They confuse you and they lead you astray, so that you are away from the established pathways, traveling along nebulous pathways which can lead one to self-destruction. Devotees, let's use an example. Manusmriti stated that if a woman's husband is dead, follow closely, and she wants to attain liberation in this lifetime, that means freedom from all bondage, moksha, then she should live a life of an ascetic, meaning you dress all in white as the cultural practices, the customs dictate. You don't plait your hair, you don't dress yourself, no makeup and so on and so forth. And you live the life of a retiree, so to speak, with your mind focused upon the divine. That is if you want to achieve liberation in this lifetime. Now, it's very difficult to say when one will attain liberation. But you'll have to maintain these practices, not in its outward form, but also inwardly. And one can attain liberation. Now, here is where the wrangling heretics come in. Once, some young girls were approached by certain people who wanted to convert them to their religion. And they went to them and said, have you ever heard of Manusmriti? Well, of course, many Hindus never heard of these books, Manusmriti, etc. So these people were quoting from these books. But listen to the dishonesty. They said, you know what Manusmriti said? That a Hindu woman should not dress herself in colored clothes. No makeup, no hairstyle. You should live by yourself inside a house. Don't go anywhere. They rubbed it in, and the question followed, do you really want to be a Hindu? Well, devotees, it's better you kill a lady than tell her don't dress up. So this confused them badly, and wholesale they decided, if we can't do this, this is what Hinduism says, then I will go the other way. Of course, they went the other way, whichever way that was. But the point I'm making to you, they didn't say that if you want to achieve liberation in this lifetime, do this. They took the path that was convenient to them, and this is why I call it intellectual dishonesty, to try to impact upon the people's minds to make them stray from the pathway in which they have been born, which their ancestors traversed. They strayed. Now this is very prevalent in this age, Kali Yuga, this age in which we live. We are bombarded on all sides by different doctrines. People take your scriptures and they twist your scriptures, and many of us are not aware of it. An example, when near Diwali time, a certain individual proclaimed that the Atharva Ved said that Lakshmi is Papi Lakshmi, the sinner Lakshmi. Of course, Atharva Ved says that. But Lakshmi didn't mean Lakshmi Mata, it means wealth, which we refer to as Lakshmi. So wealth without spiritual control is sinful. But it didn't suit their purpose to say that. So what they said, Diwali time, Hindus worship Lakshmi. Hey, Lakshmi is sinful. The Atharva Ved says, so you can't deny it. The intent was to confuse Hindus and get them to stray. Now this is what I call the wrangling heretics, just to give you two examples. And there are many more. But we have to be very, very careful. You stick close to your scriptures, and not only sticking close to your scriptures, but those who read scriptures to us, we must analyze their qualification. How versed they are. What is the intent behind what they are doing? Many questions must be asked. And devotees, questions have to be asked, we must never follow blindly. Never follow blindly. Every one of our scriptures is in the form of questions and answers. Many times you ask questions and you are told to shut up. Don't ask questions. That is not Hindu philosophy. Ask questions. And questions can save us from a lot of embarrassment. You know, a little story to illustrate this. Blind following, following without question. Devotees, simple story. It starts where there was a man who shaved his head completely. Churki, that little piece on top. Sitting at a street corner, and he was crying. I don't know why he wasn't crying at home. He came by the street to cry. So he was crying bitterly. Another person passed and said, "Bhai, why are you crying?" The fellow sobbing, he said, "Don't you know, Bhai? Dhakan Diyal Das mar gaye. Dhakan Dayal Das is dead. Go shave your head and come back to. And you know, there's a practice in Hinduism among some. We have Swahadun practice that. From the time somebody dies, shave your head. This was the practice. So, this second individual, he went and shaved his head, did the churki, and he came and sat next to this man, and he and all started to cry. Well, I know ladies cry quickly. I don't know how men started to cry so quickly. But water flowing, tears flowing. Another man passed. What happened, bhai? Dhakan Dayal Das mar gaye. Dhakan Dayal Das dead. Go shave your head and come. Nobody asked any questions. Blind following. They went and shaved the head and came back and sat down. And so the line continued to grow. And you know how society is. Some people want to show they're more sorry than others. Some shave out the eyebrow. Some shave out different things you do to show how deeply in mourning they were because Dhakan Dayal Das died. Long line of bald head men sitting, all different size shape head, you know, everything showing, boss head, everything showing. Devotees, you could imagine that scene. So a nani, a grandmother, was passing with her grandson. And you know, children, devotees, children say exactly what they see, what they feel. They don't hide anything, you know. It's good to follow and be innocent like children. So this young boy started to laugh. Nani, Nani, look at them bald-head men. Nani said, hush boy. Nani, why they shave the head? Hush boy, don't ask no question. So the normal thing, shut up everybody. So the Nani met another Nani and they started to talk. Well, these two Nanis, they knew Dhakan Dayal Das since he's small. I know the Bichara since he's small. He was a good man. We went to school together. You know, the normal kind of thing. So you the two Nani trying to show how much each one knew the Dhakan Dayal Das better. The young boy fed up. He went and sat at the end of the line next to the last bald-head man. He jammed him up. So look at him, a glaring look, you know. What happened? The child said, Mister, I just want to ask one question. Why all you men shave all the head and crying? So this last man, he said, don't you know, Dhakan Dayal Das is dead. Dhakan Dayal Das is dead. So the boy said, oh, Dhakan Dayal Das is dead. Okay. But then he stopped, he said, Mister, don't get vexed now. One question again I want to ask. Don't tell me shut up, eh? One question again I want to ask. Who is Dhakan Dayal Das? When the fellow was asked, who is Dhakan Dayal Das? Well, he got a little shock, because he didn't know. He didn't know. So he said, hold on. He asked the next man. And he didn't know either. He asked the other one. And the question went right up to the second man in the row. In that line. Who is Dhakan Dayal Das? This fellow now, very, very, with great reverence, you know, almost apologetically, talked to the first man. He said, bhai, it's not me, no, but all them fellows and them. They want to know who is Dhakan Dayal Das. Then the fellow opened his eyes widely. He said, don't you know who Dhakan Dayal Das is? Dhakan Dayal Das is my donkey. Devotees, all these idiots shaved their head because of a donkey. This man had his donkey died, he shaved his head and cried. And everybody shaved their head. The word went on, Dhakan Dayal Das is his donkey. The last man get the message, you're a donkey. He's a donkey. All them shaved their head, crying. And imagine the two Nani, they know the Bichara since he's small. They went to school with him. They were all donkeys, weren't they? The point we are making is that that child was sensible enough to ask a question, not to follow blindly. But society, such devotees, we feel that we are left out if we don't do what everybody else is doing. And I say, dare to be different. Question, challenge what you are hearing. Do not follow blindly. In this age, Kali Yuga, you have many, many wrangling heretics who will force you through influence and otherwise to stray from the pathway. To whose detriment? Your own. Your own. So Sri Ram is saying, no blind following, and be careful of the wrangling heretics. Be very careful. Let's listen, devotees, to another beautiful little bit of advice from Sri Ram. Sri Ram is saying, Nava Pallava Bhaye Vita भयभीत पयनिका, साधक मन जस मिले विवेका। अर्क जवास पाहत बिनु भयऊ, जस सुराज खल उद्यम गयऊ। अर्क जवास पाहत बिनु भयऊ, जस सुराज खल उद्यम गयऊ। जय सिया राम जय सिया राम, जय सिया राम जय सिया राम। जय रघुराम जय परधाम, जय सुखधाम जय श्री राम। जय रघुराम जय परधाम, जय सुखधाम जय श्री राम। जय सिया राम जय सिया राम, जय सिया राम जय सिया राम। हे भैया, अनेक वृक्ष नवीन पत्तों की हो गई, जैसे साधक का मन अज्ञान से सुंदर हो जाता है। श्री राम is saying, brother, now after the rains, look at how green all the plants look. New leaves sprung up. The trees, the plants, they assume a different type of beauty. Outstanding, excellent, very much impacting upon the mind. Creates a feeling of peace, joy. What does this mean? Lakshmana asked, oh brother, how do I understand this? Then Sri Ram is saying, Sadhaka manajal mile viveka. Sadhaka manajasa mile viveka. Similarly, that sadhak, that spiritual aspirant, which should be every one of us, when vivek, which is termed to be jnana, develops within the mind, so his character is beautified, his attitude becomes different. He creates a sense of peace, joy wherever he goes, as those plants would. And devotees, we have said Vivek means discriminative power, and is symbolized by Lord Ganesh, and Lord Ganesh is the Lord of wisdom, Gyan. So when you worship Lord Ganesh, you get Vivek, that is the Gyan that we talk about. When that Gyan comes to the mind, that spiritual wisdom develops within the mind, then that is true beauty, Sundar. What does Sundar mean? Swa andar, inside of one. True beauty, not physical beauty. Everybody is beautiful in your own way. But attitude-wise, disposition-wise, character-wise, that is where the true beauty lies. And what really beautifies us is this wonderful gem of Gyan. Otherwise, we create problems wherever we go. We become vexatious to the soul. Our attitudes become different, unless there is Gyan. So Sri Ram is saying, when a person acquires Gyan or is acquiring Gyan, he undergoes transformation in Nitya, transformation in disposition. He becomes more beautiful. He impacts upon all those around him. Oh brother, and on the other hand, you have two different types of plants. We call them the ark and javas. When rains fall, what happened to them? Sukha gaya. Sukha gaya. They dry up. All the leaves fall off. These two plants, the rains do something opposite for them. So all those leaves fall to the ground, and the plants there standing in their nakedness, so to speak. So Lakshmanji asked, Ubhaya, then what does this mean? Then Sri Ram is saying, Jas suraj khal udyam gayu. This has to do with politics, and politics exists on all sides. Sri Ram is saying, similarly, in that kingdom where there is proper governance, अच्छे राज्य में दुष्टों का कर्तव्य जाता रहता है. The wicked ones can't thrive. They can't survive. When there's proper governance, when the laws not only passed but implemented. Proper governance, all that it represents. When proper governance exists, wickedness cannot thrive. Cannot. No matter what excuses people make. And the vote is, it all goes back to proper governance. Proper governance. And this is something that we all need to pay attention to. In our country, crime is rampant. All kind of excuses we hear. As I mentioned, all of us are part of it. But you know how it all starts? When we are allowed to break the small rules and we get away, then we go for the bigger things. When there's lack of discipline, and lack of discipline is allowed to thrive by those who are superior to us, let it be, let it be, let it be. And I'm saying we need to look at that very, very closely. Proper governance. So in the country, yes, in the home, in the organization, in the society, wherever we are, the leadership has to be strong, not dictatorial, but sticking to principles and values and having the willpower, not just for political expediency, but for the benefit of the country, to make sure the right principles and practices are implemented. If we fail to do that, we pay the penalty. Simple little story again, but I take it in the individual level. A lady had a son. The son started to go to school. The first day he came back home with somebody else's eraser. The mother said nothing. A little while afterwards, he came back home with somebody else's pencil. Mother said nothing. But it all started before, where the mother took the child to the market, and she met with another lady who had a bunch of bananas on her head. And two of them, when they meet, they started talking about all kinds of things. So while they were talking, the child couldn't talk to the banana. So he was very bored. So what he did, he put his hand and he broke off a banana, and he began to bite it. The mother laughed. You see how smart my child is? Smart, well smart. Meaning he take him without asking. Stealing. He's smart. So the child got encouragement. So when he came over with the eraser, with the pencil, with somebody else's book, then somebody else's lunch, then somebody else's shoes, they threw him out of school. Then he started to come home with the neighbor chicken, neighbor goat. A thief will continue. That initial correction that should have been done, the mother failed to do it. Ultimately, the vote is, they say, a thief most likely could become a murderer. He killed somebody. He got caught. And now the mother saying, oh God, why are they doing this to my son? Society is to blame, not the mother. And at that point, well, she had to get the best lawyer. And lawyers charge exorbitant fees. So she sold out everything, now wearing old clothes, tear clothes and so on, to save the child. Couldn't save him. Sentenced to death. Yeah? And just before hanging, in those days, in that place they had hanging, you couldn't get away. The vote is, the last thing he said, when asked his last wish, he said, I want to see my mother for the last time. And the mother came, and from behind the bars, the child said, Ma, come, let me hug you for the last time, Ma. I won't see you again, Ma. And when the mother came close, crying, the child held onto the mother's neck and began to strangle her, saying, Ma, I'm going to carry you with me too. If you had corrected me the first time when I stole that banana, I wouldn't be here today. They had to run and pull away the mother and save the mother from going with the son. Yeah? She would have been strangled to death, he would have been hanged to death. But the child remembered that first instant, if you had corrected me, I wouldn't be in this situation, from bad to worse. And this is our problem, devotees. This is our problem. We allow the small things to go by without taking corrective measures, and that is not good governance. That is failure. Failure to implement the right principles, teachings, and values. And we create the criminals. Society creates the criminals. This is our attitude. So whether in the home, whether in the temple, sometimes you tell people and they get more vexed than you. I say, better you vex than me. You vex. But I'm telling you for your good. Don't do it. Don't do that. Take corrective measures. The teachers, administration in schools, wherever you are, we have a responsibility. Policemen, all those security. You have a duty. You have to fulfill your responsibility. Everybody is part of crime. All this is part of governance. Passing laws and all. Implementation. And the duty of every one of us to do that. And if we can do that, wickedness could never thrive. Remember, as we end, wickedness thrives only when good people do and say nothing, or say and do nothing. Evil is only allowed to thrive when good people say and do nothing. Devotees, become proactive, take responsibility. Boliye Sri Raja Ramachandra ki.
Om Jai Swaha Mata, Maya Jai Swaha Mata, Tum Agni ki Shakti, Tum Agni ki Shakti, Tum Sachi Mata. Om Jai Swaha